Are you feeling the calling to start or grow a business that is so aligned with you and everything that makes up who you are? Do you know that there has to be a way to do this without so much hustle and without chasing the latest shiny object, but you're just not sure how? You can definitely have a dream business that improves, not consumes your life, that allows you to work with soulmate clients while helping you and your family financially and in all ways. You can elevate yourself to be the entrepreneur who has all of her desires. I'm going to show you how on the Elevated Femmes movement. Welcome to the special series on the Elevated Femmes movement. I'm so excited to be bringing this series of how to elegantly launch your own podcast to you. I have been meaning to do this for quite some time, as you can probably imagine if you are familiar with what I do, and I'm finally bringing it to life. So I'm going to keep these episodes super brief, super valuable, and the communication is open. So if you have any questions on anything that I'm talking about, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me via Instagram, or you can send me an email. Those are the two best ways to reach me. So in this first episode, what I'm going to be talking about is some of the things for you to think about before you start your podcast. And this is really important because I think a lot of times people see other people launching their own podcast and they think, oh, this must be like the cool thing to do. This must be like the latest tactic, the latest shiny object that I need to be, following. And in reality, A, I never want you guys to just chase shiny objects. And B, there is more to it than it might seem. So, you really want to have a purpose for your podcast. You really want to have a goal for it. Otherwise, it just becomes a time-consuming, stressful, financially consuming thing on your to-do list. And I do not want that for you, because a podcast can be so lucrative. It can be so fun. And it could be something that really changes the game for you in your business. So let's start with, thinking of your purpose, thinking of what you want your podcast to do for you and your business, and then we take it from there. So I'm going to just pause there for a moment. And if you are brand new to me, if you're just finding the show now for the first time, I want to introduce myself really quick. So my name is Julia Hickman. I started in the online space about 7 years ago when I started a blog. My blog was called The Petite Fashionista. I was a personal trainer and an online coach. Actually, I wasn't even a coach yet, or an online coach yet at the time. I was only in person, and I created a blog to document my workouts. And then soon after that, I became pregnant, so I started sharing my prenatal fitness routines and all that stuff. And then I eventually realized that, okay, blogging is not really going to create the kind of thing that I'm looking to create. And so I became an online fitness and lifestyle coach, and I helped busy women, busy moms make fitness a part of their lives without taking up all of their time. So they still had time for their kids while creating a great, being a great role model for their kids when it came to fitness and healthy living. So that was amazing. I mean, fitness and well-being is such a big part of my life. I feel like it's such a great foundation for anything that you do. But after I had my second child, Ainsley, I got to a point where I was like, I'm doing all this work, and I just, I have limited time to work now with 2 kids during the pandemic. And I decided to pivot. And it wasn't an overnight pivot. It was something that I had in the back of my mind for over a year at that point. I just, I kind of played around with a few different ideas. And then finally I was like, you know what? I have my own podcast. I have a marketing background. I'm in, a high-end mastermind where I know that I've seen what a podcast can do, and I know the value of having a podcast, and I know the behind the scenes of people with podcasts and what they're going through, what they're thinking, what they're coming across as far as like issues and concerns. And so I decided to go all in on it. And yeah, it's great because, like I said, I get to kind of like go back to my marketing roots and use my skills as an entrepreneur that I've been able to cultivate over the past several years, with that understanding, like that lens of being able to look at, okay, a podcast needs to be something that produces, like, it needs to impact our bottom line. Otherwise, there's really no point in having one. So, like, I have that understanding of like wanting to nurture an audience and like have the ability to sell to them, right? Because if we're not selling in our businesses, then you don't really have a business. So I have that lens, I have that experience, I have that background and education. And yeah, that's really one of the great things I think that make me a great person to, pair up with when you're ready to launch your own show, or even if you have your own show and you're looking to go in a different direction, rebrand it, or just looking to better monetize it. All right, so let's get back to the topic today, which is the things to think about before you start your show. So I mentioned a little bit, like, you want to have a goal, you want to have an end goal. I see so many times that people have a great idea, but they get too cutesy with it. Like, the title that they give their podcast, it's cute, it's clever, but it's like, I have no idea really what that podcast is about, right? So you want to play it smart when it comes to the title of your show. I usually recommend thinking of something that's sort of like SEO friendly, something that can be searched. So if somebody is looking to find the answer to a specific problem, the answer to a specific thing that they need, then if they search for it, your show will be one of the ones that comes up. Another thing that I see a lot is that people just do random interviews. So this goes back to the strategy piece. And one thing that I want you to think about is when you launch a podcast is really something that can give you a platform to be an authority in your industry. You are, you hold the microphone, right? You have the power. You're up on that platform and you can call the shots. As of now, there's really no, like censorship that is available. So you really can speak your mind on any topics that you wish to. And, whether that's good or bad, there's that freedom where on social media, there really isn't. So, back to being that authority figure in your industry, if you want to really be seen as the expert, having a ton of interviews might not be something that you want to do. So, something to think about, right? If you're looking to sort of like quickly build your leads, build like a bunch of leads, especially if you're still like building your audience on other platforms, then in that case, interviews, panels, those may be the types of things that you want to think about. Okay. And I can talk about that more in another upcoming episode. So these are the things that you want to think about before you start your show. Another thing is, okay, what's the frequency of my show going to be? What day do I want my show to come out on? I see a lot of shows come out earlier in the week, and I think it's just to kind of give people a chance to catch up during the week. But it's really up to you. You call the shots. You are the creator of the show. So whatever is most convenient for you, whatever is going to allow you to be consistent is really what's going to matter. I'd rather have somebody, have their episode come out on Fridays if that gives them the week to, get their show ready and, edited and all the content pieces, the marketing pieces ready to go by Friday. I'd rather see that than see something that comes out on Monday, but there's it's not really well edited and there's no show notes, there's no marketing pieces because you ran out of time to do anything, right? Okay, so let's also talk about frequency. So I see I see entrepreneurs who have episodes that go out twice a month, which is fine. My podcast right now is it's usually, twice a month. I'm actually looking to go to a once a week frequency. And that's really the ideal frequency because it just gives people the chance to be listening to consuming your content every week at the same time. Because what happens is if your show comes out this week, but it skips the following week, then there's another show that is, getting streamed into their podcast player instead of yours. So you don't want to risk losing your audience once you have them. So that's really one of the great benefits of having a weekly show. It's just that consistency. People know to expect your show to come out every week. They're waiting for it. They want to listen to it. And yeah, skipping is not always ideal. Okay, so I hope these tips are helpful to you. These are just some great things to think about before you really do anything else, like worry about what am I going to talk about and who am I going to interview? Those are things that come a little bit later. First, set out the pre-planning, your pre-launch pieces so that you are setting yourself up on, in a good way. And then from there, you can decide what is next. So stay tuned for the next episode. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. I'm Julia M. Hickman, or you can send me an email and I'll put my email in the show notes as well. But it's connect@juliahickmanandco.com. And I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for listening to the Elevated Femmes movement. I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast, so please leave us a review. If you know someone who could benefit from the episodes on the show, please share it with them. We need more women elevating to their highest potential, enjoying all the great things in life, having plenty of time freedom for their children and loved ones, while growing a business that improves, not consumes, their life, and doing things in a smarter, not harder way. To connect with me and download my free resources, please go to www.juliamhickman.com.